So I'm making this video for educational purposes and entertainment only. It's not meant for any legal advice. It's just meant for putting it out here for people. I need help in a complex situation. It's a very complex situation. I think the most thing that people aren't aware of is that I believe it's to be one of the worst situations on this entire planet happening to me. Me. So it's really hard to come out here and get help from, especially when I thought I had the love from my own brothers. But here I'm going to touch on a deep and complex issue regarding the nature of fiat currency, the legal frameworks like Uniform Commercial Code, which is the law of all financial systems, all transactions. Financial systems have been historically used as tools of control rather than tools of liberation. So the shift from real money to fiat currency as a tool is issued to us as a tool of enslavement. Historically, money was backed by gold and silver, which had intrinsic values. However, with the issuance of paper currency and this fiat money, governments and central banks and these genies can print as much as they want while having the power to control economics through inflation, debt, and monetary policies, essentially controlling our labor, our wealth, our energy, and our freedom. 1. Fiat money and debt slavery. The Federal Reserve Act of 1913 shifted the United States monetary system from a gold-backed currency to a privately controlled, mind you, central banking system that is currently being abolished. After 1933, the United States government confiscated gold and forced citizens to use Federal Reserve notes, which were no longer backed by anything. Initially, or in replace of the money, they were giving us a form of paper currency, and it's not currency, or paper money, not money. And they're two separate things. Even according to Black's Law Dictionary, paper money was given us as an instrument and a tool to suppress us. In 1971, the United States fully abandoned the gold standard under Nixon, making the dollar purely fiat currency, meaning it had no intrinsic value and was based solely and only on the government's decrees. This system in place created perpetual debt because fiat money is issued as credit, loans, rather than anything real or of real owned wealth, generational wealth. The Uniform Commercial Code Uniform Commercial Code law control governs all commercial transactions in the United States and other nations that have adopted similar legal structures. The Uniform Commercial Code operates under contract law and legal fictions, where people are treated as corporate entities, as well known as the straw man identity, rather than being sovereign beings, meaning you're in the flesh. You don't represent the corporate entity that they need to make you from in order to keep you a debt slave to the system that really just wants to abolish people. Birth certificates, social security numbers, and other legal documents are tied to financial instruments, meaning individuals unknowingly then became collateral for the national debt. So instead of you having the issuance of a real money, you are now just collateral working for this national debt. This is what prevents true freedom. If money were still backed by gold or silver, people could store real wealth and not be dependent on systems that forces them into endless work to pay off on interests that were artificially created to ensure debt, to ensure financial depletion, and then to ensure that targets can get their information subjugated through third-party activities, manipulating your life, while at the same time the financial elite control the money supply, manipulating inflation, recession, creating economic crises to keep people in financial dependency. Governments and corporations benefit from keeping people financially uninformed, ensuring that they never learn about the actual legal and financial tools that could grant them autonomy, like filing your Uniform Commercial Code. So what would life be like without this system? If money were based on an intrinsic value rather than on a fiat currency, on the decrees of the state and the system, we would likely see more local economies thriving, more families thriving. Without this central banking control, no national debt traps would be being set up and infiltrated, as wealth could be stored in tangible assets rather than in numbers on some ledger, on some board. Greater financial sovereignty where people could truly rely on their own labor, their own assets, without governments or banks controlling their values. Reclaiming power and awareness is learning how the Uniform Commercial Code and financial systems operate that can help us break free from an economic slavery. I'm in an economic slavery. I know y'all are in an economic slavery because when one person is in duress, everyone else is in duress. Sovereign money like alternatives in gold, silver, cryptocurrency, and other bartering systems, like what other people would want to create, Heartworks and other things like that, are pathways to create that autonomy. Spiritual and communal approaches to wealth, where we can really store generational wealth, where resources are shared and not dictated by a debt-based system, and instead we move to restore that balance back in our lives. This topic runs deeply and embedded in my life today based on how these people have moved. And what I'm talking about is these bankers, the corporate fiction that's created the false entity, that's created the false straw man, so that they could continuously having their buddies' pockets lined all nice and fat to continue eradicating the American people, you see. And so this is what's been happening with me in an identity theft crisis for a long time, where it's an identity theft. It's not me in crises alone. It's these people that are perpetrating a crime through targeting me and pushing their own agendas upon me. So it runs deeper for me because it's a system that's designed for control but not for freedom. And this message and the messages about establishing the knowledge of Uniform Commercial Code without having to have them shape it in the bar association or having to go to a lawyer, but actually learning it yourself. This would help shape the message that you're trying to share in anything that you're trying to share, your music, your workshops, or making movements and missions to create a larger statement. Do you see what I mean? So when these things are important to me right now because so many people have been coming up against me covertly in this war of me finding the truth that can set us free. Well, if they don't want to collaborate in any kind of fashion because of their own intentions, you see, then I'm in a situation where I don't have any portion of my actual organic life based on how these people have moved. And it's like time and time again, I'm out because I didn't see where it was coming from, and now that I do, everyone's moved on me in really wicked ways. So that's why I'm out here trying to break the algorithm and get help with this, hoping to collaborate with people that care and can help me free myself from the clutches of this kind of abuse that's been in my life. Thanks for being here. I hope this made sense, and I hope that you can share with me your inspiring ways of establishing not utilizing these non-negotiable instruments for our straw man, like our mortgages, and figuring out how we can utilize them to pay us instead of continuing to allow them to steal from us in an illegal fashion. Thanks for being here.